This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about.
You all ready for this? Dun, 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 dun.
This is a sham.
No. Nope. Y'all, just stop.
Get real.
Welcome to DBL, otherwise known as Daily Blast Live.
It's like you're killing time already.
I'm just saying.
All right.
I like the name of our show. All right. Did y'all hear about this? It's insane. Dave Chappelle was attacked by a man while performing at the Netflix is a Joke Festival at the Hollywood Bowl last night. So a fan shot this video of the attack. You see the man rush the stage and violently tackle Dave, who falls back. After the attack, the man was chased off the stage, and then video shows security and others gathered around him backstage. Dave is reportedly okay and even joked that he was attacked by a trans man. And then Chris Rock made this joke.
Was that Will Smith?
Police have identified the attacker as 23-year-old Isaiah Lee, who was taken away on a stretcher. Police say he had pointed a gun at Dave Chappelle as he rushed him, but it turns out the gun wasn't real, but it did have a knife, a real knife, attached to it. So that is a deadly weapon. After all of that, Dave continued his act and even brought Jamie Foxx on stage to talk about it. Take a look.
Shout out to Jamie Foxx, by the way. Jamie, where you at? Whenever you're in trouble, Jamie Foxx would show up in the sheriff's hat. I thought that was part of the show. I don't know what the I've been doing this 35 years. I just stomped the backstage.
Al, our resident comedian, would you first of all be able to take the stage after that? And second, what was your just reaction to this? Were you surprised?
You have to, I always tell people, go see comedy. It's a live show. You know, I mean, and this is the kind of stuff that does happen. Obviously, it's been in the news a lot, and people are more charged up. And I do think this is another example of how the internet is radicalizing people. We didn't see this as much, but as somebody who's been doing it 16 years, Erica, it's happened to me. It's happened to almost every comic I know. Some people have thrown things. Some people have been punched. Remember pre-pandemic, we saw there was a comic that had the mic stand and was fighting a guy off. This is what else could have happened? This is the Hollywood Bowl, so I'm surprised at the lack of security. But at a comedy club, there's only one way in, there's only one way out. Usually you have to walk through the crowd.
You're drunk, probably.
A lot of people are drunk. And if you are saying things that are igniting people for whatever reason, good, bad, or indifferent, it's going to cause people to react, and usually people react physically.
Is this though? I mean,
this is a thing.
It is a thing, but is this a Will Smith, Chris Rock thing? Is this a direct result of seeing that? Because like that's the first thing my mind went to. Is that what your mind went to, or
This
no?
seemed like spillover from the Netflix trans issues. This didn't seem like this had to do with a Jada Pinkett Smith issue. What did you think, Erica?
I didn't think of the trans issue at all. I just think, you know, you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes, because that arm might go back. I'm not sure.
It didn't look great.
It didn't look great.
And arm is hurt.
I went to a Dave Chappelle show probably, I guess, 3 years ago, before the pandemic, and someone approached the stage, and it was like the most, it's almost like it's such a surreal thing in the audience, so I can't imagine what it's like to be on stage and have someone approach. And he wasn't like, you know, being violent or anything, but he really felt like he was entitled to walk up to him on the stage. And I remember thinking, like, he was right in front of me, and I remember thinking, like, is this dude gonna, like, or somebody gonna get him, or like, what's gonna happen?
Part of it?
Right, and no one did anything, because it's so surprising. Like, we live in a society of social rules, norms, and mores. Like, most of us follow and abide by those guidelines. So when someone doesn't, I think everybody just kind of like, it's a shock. Like, no one really knows what to do. But I'm glad that Dave's okay. And yeah, that arm, you know, sorry for you, bro.
I wish it was more shocking. I mean, I hope you can see, like, this is not shocking to me at
I'm
all.
like a little.
I've been with several comics. One had to come back to the city they were performing in to testify against the guy that came after him. I was at a Chris Rock show when he was warming up for an HBO special maybe 10, 12 years ago in West Palm Beach, where I think I told you guys off camera, somebody yelled the N-word at him from the first table in the front row, maybe a foot and a half from him, because he was telling a joke that this guy did not care for.
Yeah.
And so this is not new to us at all. And I mean, it's just a matter of time. Comics are the only A-list celebrities. There's A-list celebrities on that stage that you can get that close to. Nobody could get that close to J-Lo. I don't even know where Beyonce is.
Yeah, right.
You know,
she's kept in a secret location. No,
I don't even know if she's on the actual earth.
She's
she might
kept
be
in
hovering.
a secret location.
But comics you can have access to, and we are paid to say controversial things. The audience is sitting there already amped up with their preconceived notions coming into the show, and now we are dumping a ton of alcohol on it, and this is going to happen more often than not.
I just have to say that I think this is a direct, in my opinion, this seems like a direct result or a copycat of the Chris Rock Will Smith thing, and that it happened at the Hollywood Bowl. First of all, where was the security? And second of all, I really appreciate this. Air Benes says most comedians are not fighters. They use words instead of their fists. So it's an interesting juxtaposition between the two. It's already scary
not in that
enough.
case.
Yeah, right. It's already scary to do stand-up, okay? Not have people come up and violently strike you. Ridiculous. Well, we do have an update to a story we talked about yesterday about the corrections officer Vicky White, who is accused of helping an inmate who is also a murder suspect escape from an Alabama jail. Security camera footage shows Vicky casually holding the door for the inmate who just walks out of the jail in handcuffs. She then puts him in the back of a black sheriff's cruiser, and the two take off together. They reportedly had an AR-15 and a shotgun with them. Also, new details about their alleged romantic relationship are coming out, including the fact that it reportedly took place for the past 2 years. Some other inmates also said he was getting special privileges, all thanks to her.
I think that last part could be assumed. Yeah. Look. We talked about this earlier, Erica. Like anytime you have a confined situation where there are people that are opposite or even same sex, they're in a confined situation. Romance is going to blossom, whether one person has one uniform on or one person has an inmate uniform on. When people connect, this is what happens. Somebody's lonely, somebody finds somebody that treats them well, and they're willing to put their entire life on the line, which she did for this man. That's real love.
No, it's not.
I'm just kidding.
That's not real love. That's delusion. There are so many, like, people, it's always so crazy to me when, like, someone has a breakup or, you know, like, all these things. And it's like, I understand that people, you know, the heart wants what the heart wants. Mm-hmm. But do you have any idea how many people are actually living on this earth currently? Like, there's going to be somebody else. Like, there really will, I promise you. Like, you don't have to blow up your entire life and existence for love. I swear to you. I swear.
Good for you.
Can I ask you guys a question quickly? The inmates are saying he's getting special attention. Clearly, the staff had to know that too. Could they possibly be implicated? There's no way that no one noticed.
Implicated?
There's no way that no one noticed that, like, she's clearly
right, like giving extra. Apparently, he got extra food. Apparently, he's also not supposed to be with just one solo officer, so that also was like on video being totally okay. So there will be investigation, I assume, internally of what's going on. But that's they'll be caught again in an hour. Right?
They've been gone for
They have been gone for a little while. The Whites. All right, coming up on DBL, our interview with Lindsey Vonn. She tells us what life is like after retirement, and fallout from the leaked Roe v. Wade document is intensifying. We're talking about the rallies across the country coming up next.
Closed captioning provided by
Daily Blast Live is always focused, always on cue, always ready, always timely. This May, don't miss a day. DBL is all new every day. Okay, we have an interesting question from Aaron Ledette. And again, I'm not saying this to out you at all. I just think it's a really interesting question. Oh, I'm so sorry.
Going to make sure that you had these.
Oh, yes. Thank you. So good. Michael needs the best. Okay. This is what Aaron says. In no way do I justify violence, and I want to make sure we say that. But like I said, you can't make fun of people and then expect no repercussions. And I'm like, isn't that the whole point of stand-up? Isn't that the art of stand-up comedy? That you're allowed to tell jokes that people laugh at without having people be violent? Are we that far we can't do stand-up anymore?
I mean, well, that's where,
is that the point?
That's where we're going in terms of if we have to get to a point where the audience has to be polled about what is
Like a jury?
acceptable.
Oh
like
my God,
when we
y'all.
ask artists to push the envelopes, we do understand that we're asking, because people go, well, where's the line? Well, there's a line.
Right.
Okay? And artists
Michael
are
Richards hit the
constantly, yes, and that wasn't even art, that was a ranting of a madman. But there will be jokes where somebody's like, I like that. I ain't like that little kid joke you threw in there.
Right.
And that's okay.
And that's
so we found the line right there.
Right.
The line is you don't like jokes about the whatever. But like if we go into everything like, well, because what if they're a comic and they're self-deprecating, so they're making fun of I really let myself go during the pandemic. What if somebody goes, hey, I did too, and you're making me feel bad about myself. I'm in therapy to feel better. So now that comic can't make a joke about themselves.
Yeah. That's the point of satire.
In order to have a society, we have to have some rules in place. And one of the rules is, guess what? You do not legally have to ever go to a comedy show.
Exactly. And you can be uncomfortable. You're allowed to be uncomfortable.
And if you see comedy on YouTube, you turn away.
You can turn away. That's another thing, right? You know, in Plato's Cave, the whole idea is you can turn the TV off.
You know when I turn away?
When?
We had to watch it on TV. When people break arms and stuff in sports, I don't like that.
Love that.
I turn away. I don't like that.
Theismann
I don't want
forever. Welcome back. All right, a lot of people are still digesting the news that we could soon be living in a post-Roe v. Wade America, where women in some states are unable legally to choose to have an abortion. So last night, there were protests in cities across the country. In Los Angeles, police officers were on the scene and actually had to clear the streets. And check this out. A man who calls himself pro-life Spider-Man climbed a high-rise tower in San Francisco yesterday. He did it to spread his anti-abortion message. He was taken into custody by police after reaching the top. We're also hearing more details about the investigation into the leaked Supreme Court opinion, including the fact that Chief Justice Roberts wants to keep it in-house for now and not refer it to the Justice Department.
Well, that's pretty appropriate that he's climbing a building, because that's the only thing that man's going to climb.
Oh! Look. Erica, my only issue with what he did is like when people have like a specific skill and they want to like just kind of show it off and they need to attach. They're like, he's like, I'm going to climb that building, and there's also a pro-life rally. So guess what I am?
I'm going to put these two together.
I thought that was a strange confluence, but either way, this is going to be, a topic that is going to be discussed all the way until it's law. And I mean, we really have to think about, yes, they're going to kick this back to the states. There's probably going to be 20, 23 states that will try and reverse or actually reverse Roe v. Wade. The bigger thing is in 2024, since we do obviously have a conservative court, we could have a conservative president.
I was waiting for someone to say that.
We could have a conservative Senate
Congress.
and a conservative House.
And what happens?
And now we start talking about a federal law. So
thank you. So at some point in 2024, if it all goes Republican, they could make this a federally banned right that, in my opinion, we have a right to do. So that is an option on the table. And just so everybody knows, too, for me, I just am getting ready to fight, and I'm so tired of fighting. But when I say that the state elections matter now, I mean it with the bottom of my heart, because now it's up to the states to decide if abortion is legal or not. And there will be certain places where women will have to go in different places geographically. But when I say state elections matter, I could not mean them more in this case.
Well, of course. I mean, this is something that, especially you, I mean, you're so tapped into politics and the law, but people aren't paying attention. Another thing that people aren't paying attention to is I am so excited for all of these people who are so excited about the reversal of Roe v. Wade and their grandbabies that their sons are going off to college and making that they don't know anything about, and they have to welcome them into their homes. Mm-hmm. That is so exciting to me because we are really wanting to make sure that every life, even before they're born, really matters. So congratulations.
Fair.
Yeah, we're in a scary place. And I mean, it's just the reversal of this wouldn't just start with, it wouldn't end with Roe v. Wade. I mean, obviously, our LGBTQ brothers and sisters know what's coming down the pipe.
Yes, they do.
Interracial marriage.
Interracial marriages.
Interracial marriage, and even just the idea of just having, non-disclosure between you and your doctor and the government.
Just the right to
in terms of
privacy
what they're giving, if your doctor is giving you pills to do an abortion at home. So now patient privilege is now violated. So I hope y'all are ready.
Yeah.
Get your popcorn, Erica. I mean, there's a saying, may you live in interesting times.
Yeah, and I think this timeline is quite interesting. And may I remind people, this, in my opinion, doesn't stop abortions, and this is scientifically researched. It stops safe abortions. Women will find a way to have, and what I say is back alley, horrendous abortions. We will go back to that. So women will now be dying from abortions instead of the other way. I want to read what Reese Witherspoon said. She said, hey, SCOTUS, let Roe v. Wade stand. Whoopi Goldberg had a great take on The View, which our Lindsey Granger is on. She said, quote, this is not a religious issue. This is a human issue. And Bill Gates says a reversal of Roe v. Wade would set us back 50 years and disproportionately impact the most vulnerable women.
I do think we're being disproportional with those comments as well. There's a lot of people that are pro-life.
So happy.
So
monumentally happy.
Let's be honest about both parties at the table here as well.
Totally fair. And that's a conversation that's going to go down. It's going to go down sooner than we thought. Coming up on DBL, our interview with champion ski racer Lindsey Vonn. You're not a skier.
Oh.
Have you ever skied?
No.
We'll find out the most unique prize she won after a race.
Wade decision back in 1973 came down to right to privacy, which usually rests on two things: due process rights and the 14th Amendment, which guarantees the constitutional right to life, liberty, and property. But this draft says the right to an abortion is not considered an implied constitutional right. So let's verify. What other decisions does the 14th Amendment impact? Our sources are Caroline Fredrickson, a Georgetown law professor, and Robert Peck, a constitutional law expert.
There's an interesting philosophical decision that's embodied in this opinion, and that is, to what extent are rights implied by the Constitution? This opinion asserts that abortion is not one of those implied rights.
There are other subsequent decisions dealing with equal marriage, gay marriage, and so forth that rest on the same foundation.
The idea of an implied right to privacy is the foundation of these other big decisions, like Obergefell versus Hodges, the case that legalized gay marriage, and Loving versus Virginia, the case that legalized interracial marriage, as well as Griswold versus Connecticut, which affords married couples the constitutional right to buy and use contraceptives, and Lawrence versus Texas, which made same-sex sexual activity legal in 2003. As for whether those precedents are at risk, it's hard to say.
It basically is an invitation to those who oppose those decisions to come back to the Supreme Court, frame your arguments the same way that this case, the opinion in this case was framed, and then see if you can get the same result.
Justice Samuel Alito, author of the draft opinion, argues the abortion issue is, quote, critically different from any other right that this court has held to fall within the 14th Amendment's protection of liberty.
Welcome back. She is the most decorated female skier of all time, and we were lucky enough to catch up with her. You know who she is, Lindsey Vonn, here to talk about the prices she paid to be the best. Take a look.
Wow, we got Lindsey Vonn here, you guys. Welcome to DBL. Hi.
You've won countless competitions and awards, but we found out one of your prizes was an actual, real, living cow.
Yes.
So you have to tell the story. How did this happen, and do you still have it?
So yeah, it was a crazy race. I actually saw the cow in the finish, and I was like, I want to win today just so I get this cow.
Yes.
And then it was kind of like a promotional thing, and they were like, we want to give you a check and give us the cow back. And I said, no, you told me I could keep the cow. So I kept the cow, negotiated for the cow. And I actually have like 6, 7 cows, maybe more. I've got quite the herd.
What?
That's
oh my gosh.
really cool.
My son Miles is obsessed with cows. We had a cow birthday party. All he says is cow, even though he can say other words. It's cow this, cow that. Wow, that is so cool. You're like the coolest person ever.
Seriously.
I don't know if the cows drinking cool.
You won some gold medals, but cow, pro cow.
Yeah, and
As long as I got the cows, I'm good.
But she has a herd.
There you go.
Okay.
It's interesting because I was thinking about this morning when I saw that we were going to be able to interview you, and I've seen some documentaries on skiing and how dangerous it is, how many injuries you guys rack up. But people think about football players as being tough and UFC fighters being tough, but you guys really hurt yourself a lot. So as a pro skier, how were you always able to come back and just compete? And what was the hardest injury that you dealt with?
I've had quite a few injuries over the course of my career. I think the hardest was when I had a spiral fracture of my humerus because I lost all feeling in my hand. Like I couldn't use my hand at all. I couldn't feed myself. I couldn't write. I literally couldn't hold a pencil. So that actually, scared me more than blowing my knee out. But thankfully I can use my hand now. Everything works well, and just have quite a bit of knee pain. But I think that's, everyone pays a price for success, and that's the price I paid. But I wouldn't change it for the world.
But that speaks to your perseverance. It speaks to why you're such a champion on and off the slope. So to that point, let's talk about your new book, Rise, which is incredible, everybody. Why did you decide to write this memoir right now?
It took about a year and a half. I wrote it, and I was just in a really interesting state of mind. I was actually kind of resentful that I was retiring. I didn't want to retire. I was really forced to because my body had gone through too many injuries, too many surgeries. And so I actually scrapped that entire book that I wrote that I spent a year and a half on. I started over. Wow. And I was in a much better place. I'm really happy now. I am accepting of the fact that I'm retired. I'm very busy and I'm happy. And I think that is reflected in the book, and I really wanted it to be something that was inspiring, where sharing my stories of adversity would help others overcome their own adversities.
And Lindsey, something you wrote about in the book about how hard it was coping with life after retirement. I played football in college, but such a small level, it wasn't anywhere going pro, but it was like a piece of me died when I stopped playing. So why did you end up talking to a psychologist? Was it that detrimental to you after retiring that it was like something part of you was gone?
Yeah, I totally agree entirely. It's really, you're going through the stages of mourning where you're angry, you're sad, you're frustrated. There's so many feelings. And, I thought, well, I've been through so much in my life. I can handle this. This is no problem. But it was, I think, the hardest thing that I've had to overcome is kind of making that next step forward and turning the page on this next chapter of life. I know who I am. I know where I want to go. I'm not just a ski racer. I'm Lindsey, and I'm very happy with that.
I have to ask before we go, when you are casually skiing, are people like, oh my gosh, that's Lindsey Vonn? I can't imagine being on the slopes and seeing you go right by.
Usually it's, they don't recognize me until I've passed them. They're kind of like, who is that? And then I fly by and they're like, oh, shoot, I think that's, and I'm like, yep, that's me.
That is so cool. That is so cool. Okay, so Lindsey, thank you so much for chatting with us. To our readers out there, if you need some inspiration, trust me, do not forget to read her memoir, Rise, My Story, available now. We'll be right back. Thank you so much, Lindsey.
Cool. Thanks for talking to us.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by...
Hours after Elon Musk announced he was buying Twitter in a $44 billion deal, some social media users began wondering what happened to a charitable deal that Musk offered. A post by podcast host Brian Tyler Cohen with more than 500,000 likes claims Musk told the UN that he would donate $6 billion to help end world hunger, but he never delivered. So let's verify. Did Elon Musk tweet that he would donate $6 billion to the UN World Food Program to fight world hunger? Our sources are the UN's World Food Program, tweets from Elon Musk, and reply tweets by David Beasley, the chief of the WFP. The controversy started on October 31st, 2021, when CNN published a story that claimed 2% of Musk's wealth would solve world hunger and cited the WFP. Musk responded by challenging the WFP to explain how $6 billion would help solve world hunger and offered to sell Tesla stock to do it. Beasley replied to clarify that the money could help save 42 million people on the brink of starvation and not completely solve world hunger. The two men exchanged some tweets before Musk asked for a detailed accounting of the WFP's spending. The WFP followed through 2 weeks later, and Beasley tagged Musk in a tweet with a link to the plan, but the billionaire never responded. So, yes, Elon Musk did tweet that he would donate $6 billion to the UN World Food Program to fight world hunger. A filing where the Securities and Exchange Commission shows Musk donated nearly $6 billion worth of Tesla stock a few days after the WFP published its plan. However, it's not known where that money went because the WFP told Fortune it has yet to receive a donation from Musk. With your Verify, I'm Brandon Lewis.
The question we're looking at today is climate change increasing the pollen count? Our source is Dr. Sandra Hong with the Cleveland Clinic, the CDC, a study published in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Science Journal, and a study featured in Nature Communications. According to the CDC, the changing climate has caused shifts in precipitation patterns, more frost-free days, warmer seasonal air temperatures, and more carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. These changes can affect when the pollen season starts and ends, how much pollen plants create, and how much pollen is in the air.
The human-caused climate change is really changing our pollen seasons, so it's lengthening the number of days that we can have pollen allergies. And in addition to it, it has been increasing pollen counts. They found that it seems to be linked to increased temperatures.
According to the study in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Science Journal, the pollen season has lengthened by 20 days over the past 3 decades. Pollen concentrations increased by 21%, one of the most affected places in the Southeast. And it's only getting worse. According to the study featured in Nature Communications, pollen season could end up starting as much as 40 days earlier and last about 15 days longer than it does today. Pollen levels could also triple in some parts of the United States. So we can verify that, yes, climate change is increasing the pollen count. With your Verify, I'm Megan Bragg.
We all know how it goes. The seasons are changing. It's getting a little warmer. And let me guess, you wanted some new spring and summer gear, but your closet is already packed with clothes. Well, we've got an app that's going to solve your problems, and it's called Vinted. So Vinted is a secondhand fashion-focused app where you can buy and sell pre-loved items. Take a photo, write up a detailed description, set the price you want, and upload. There are no hidden selling fees, so the price you set is the price you're going to make. And if you're the buyer, you just search using filters like brand, color, or even condition. And when you finally find that dream piece, you pay through the app. The best part is that to ensure your money is safe, the seller doesn't get paid until you receive your item and make sure it's okay. And get this, Vinted is free to download, so if you don't wear it, sell it. I think this is a really responsible, eco-friendly way of dealing with consignment clothes and not having to create new fashion all the time.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if my husband already made an account to get rid of half the stuff in my closet.
That's amazing.
It's the way to go, and yes, eco-friendly is nice that you can say that, but you just get really dope vintage clothes.
You do.
Which I love, and you can get those kind of signature pieces as well that are old school. They have that look, but they're like not marked up, so yeah, I'm here for
That's
this.
all Al, that's true. Before we go, we do want to say, may the 4th be with you. May 4th marks a celebration of all things Star Wars. If you don't know, it comes from this famous Star Wars phrase.
Hey, Luke. May the Force be with you.
There you go.